What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of JK Sports. It's your host, Kevin Humphreys. Joining me, as he does every week, is Jack Feldman. Jack, what's up, man? We haven't had a ton of things going on recently since our last podcast, but it's October. There's always something going on, right?
Right, it is true. Just count down the days to basketball. Had to rep out the Jazz, even though they're not going to be good. Gotta rep the retro. So it's always a good day to pull out some basketball stuff as you are wearing another not the greatest team, but the
Devin
Phoenix
Booker,
Suns.
man, the
So
highest
we
paid
love to
player in the
see it.
NBA.
We love to see it. Basketball's back almost,
Yep,
but football still rules, and we have a crazy slate this weekend.
100%. I mean, when when the Pac-12 dissolved. We were kind of worried that our beautiful sport was being ruined. But looking at the slate this week, I mean, there you really can't complain. Like, there's so many elite matchups this weekend, and I'm excited to talk about all of them. We also have NFL happening this weekend. Um, Unfortunately, as we tape this, the Dodgers have gone up 3-0, so it looks like Dodgers are on their way to the World Series, which they'll probably win. And then we're going to go at least a calendar year without baseball, is kind of what it feels like with the impending lockout coming. So if you're a fan of baseball, enjoy these next 8 to 10 games that we're going to get treated to with what's happening in the AL, which is fun. The Blue Jays won last night. Obviously, when you guys are listening to this, there will be another game that's happened and a final score. So enjoy playoff baseball. But Jack, like we talked about, this is a football show. Football is king. Let's start with Friday night's game. Louisville, unranked, but only one loss against Miami. Miami's a 13.5 point favorite at home. Any chance the Cardinals are able to make this one a game?
No, honestly, and I don't see them covering either. I think Miami ends up rolling, especially at home. If it was at Louisville, it'd be a different story, but I have yet to see Miami really struggle, and they've had some really good games
Mm-hmm.
against very good opponents. And yeah, they've almost lost, but they always pull it out. And so I have no doubt that they'll take care of business at home against a good Louisville team.
100%. I agree. This is the best team they have left on their schedule. So if there's a
Hmm.
place for them to slip up, it's here. I don't think they slip up. I'm with you. They've had a bye week to prepare. I could maybe see just with the extra time off, maybe Louisville comes out and jumps on them early. Maybe a little sprinkle on like a first quarter or first half Louisville spread. But I think ultimately Miami wins this game by 3 scores in the second half. So I agree with you, but nothing but there. If this is going to be a historic weekend, it starts tomorrow night with the great Louisville Miami game.
That is true. That is very
Okay,
true.
early morning slate on Saturday. We got LSU Vanderbilt. Now, Jack, if I told you 2 years ago that Vanderbilt was going to be a favorite against LSU, your reaction would have been,
I I wanted to bring this up to you. Like we didn't even talk about bringing this up, but
uh
just the
huh,
fact that Vanderbilt is ranked is just like mind-boggling to me, and it still
mm-hmm,
is mind-boggling. I'm just like, how is this team good? This team has been awful. The SEC dwellers for
mm-hmm,
years, decades. Like they are the team that, oh, you play Vanderbilt, you're on a bye. Like this team was awful for decades, and now
right.
all of a sudden they come to life and they're a favorite against LSU. And I just can't wrap my head around that fact of Vanderbilt is a favorite against LSU.
It's unbelievable. I mean, you look at the Big Ten, and Indiana's ranked what, number 3 in the country? Are you kidding me? Like the least successful program in the Big Ten is now the number 3 team in the country. The worst SEC team historically is now the number 17th team in the country and favored against number 10 LSU, which LSU's that ranking is very bloated. It's very overrated for LSU in my opinion. But still, the fact that we're having this conversation, Jack, is, one of the things that makes this sport so great. And, it feels like every single team in these at least the Big 10 and the SEC are taking football so seriously that every single team top to bottom is fielding a competitive roster that's honestly a top 30, 40 team in the country. Obviously, we love Diego Pavia. I mean, how could you not? But with that being said, they're ranked and they're favored, but do you expect them to win this game?
This is honestly coin flip for me. And there's a lot
Yeah.
of coin flips this week for me. But
Mhm.
I think Vanderbilt's going to find a way to beat this LSU team.
Right.
They're going to be able to show their vulnerabilities. LSU has a lot of issues, in my
Yep.
opinion, that you've seen on and off, but they're talented enough to get the job done eventually. But with a team like Vanderbilt, where I feel like they're not flashy and they just get the
Mm.
job done, they work hard,
Yep.
and it's just a blue collar type team. I think
Mhm.
that is going to overweigh LSU's talent in this game, and that's why
Mhm.
I'm going to pick Vanderbilt in the early slate. But we're treated all week, all day on
Oh.
Saturday because you start with this matchup, and I think it's going to go toe to toe, wire to wire.
Mhm.
An honestly just great way to start off the day.
100%. And the crazy thing about this game, Jack, is who's been the better quarterback this season?
It's
Diego
been
or Garrett
Pavia,
Nussmeier, right?
which is nuts.
It's just unthinkable that, argue I mean, there's Ty Simpson, but then like Diego's in that next group, right? I mean, the next group of like your like I guess I mean I don't even know if Lagway's in that next group, but like your Bo Perbulas, your Aguilars, like and anyone else that is fighting for that second spot, Diego's right there with Nussmeier. I mean, we've heard that Nussmeier's been struggling with an injury the last month or so. And so it'll be interesting to see, like, he looked better last week. He had a lot more zip on the football.
Right.
But without Nussmeier, honestly, this LSU team's probably 3-3,
Mhm.
possibly even worse than that. So like I think you're right. It's gonna be a fun game. It's a toss up, but I'll ride with Vandy, man. I mean, how can you not? And let's do you watch SEC shorts?
A little bit, not a ton.
All right. Well, Vandy Pimp is the most electric. It's the most electric character on SEC shorts, so I'm rooting for Vanderbilt just so we get more just
Go
just so
Vandy.
we get more Vandy Pimp in our lives. Next game we'll talk about just kind of quick. Texas A&M versus Arkansas. Jack, Arkansas, put up a fight against Tennessee last week, but I think Texas A&M's a different beast. Who you got in this one?
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be as easy as it sounds. It's going to be
Yeah.
Texas A&M pretty soundly, even on the road. I think
Yep.
they're just a high-powered offense. They got a good defense. I mean, this is a really, really good football team, a top five team in my opinion. Their
Right.
ranking is not overranked or
Mm-hmm.
anything like that. I really do
No.
think they're a top five program in the nation,
Yep.
which is why they're going to roll through Arkansas on the road.
The one thing I am interested in seeing, so they've played Florida and they've played Auburn, two of probably maybe the two worst offenses in the SEC that we've seen so far. And they've and Mississippi State as well. They've dominated those three teams. They've allowed
Right.
one or two third down conversions through those three games. Arkansas's offense is way better. I'm interested in seeing, like, I think Texas A&M wins this game going away probably by 10, 14 points, but I am interested to see if Arkansas is able to move the football on them more like some teams early in the season were able to do, like Notre Dame, even Utah State put up 20 something points on them.
Mhm.
If if Texas A&M comes out and holds Arkansas to below 17 points. I think honestly, the loss is significant. Like I might be putting Texas A&M in the same conversation as an Indiana, as the same conversation where you're putting Oregon and Miami in. Like I think they might be in that conversation if their defense comes out and kicks butt again.
Right. And I completely agree with that. I think, like you said, if they look good against Arkansas, who they're not ranked, they haven't won a ton of games, but they are a good SEC
Taylor Green,
program.
Taylor
Yep.
Green,
Their offense is good. They can put
yeah,
up points. And so if their defense, like you were saying, is able to stop that high powered offense,
hmm
even just lets them score 3 times,
yeah,
21 points, 17 points. I think I think this Texas A&M team is really good.
yeah. I agree. Next game we'll get into. We'll go to another high spending Texas team, Texas Tech at Arizona State. That game's 4 p.m. Eastern on Fox. Jack, it sounds like Sam Levitt's going to play, but does that matter in this one?
I don't care where the line's at. I'm taking Texas Tech to cover. I have no idea where that
Yeah.
line is, but I mean
I
Texas
have nine
Tech
and a
is
half, I believe.
as oh yeah. I thought it was gonna be like 13 and a half. I think they win by 2 touchdowns pretty soundly. Their offense is really good. Arizona State just gave up like 45 points to a Utah offense. And so Texas Tech's going to have no problem moving the ball against this defense. And
hmm
Texas Tech's defense is a lot better, well, better than Utah's defense. And
Right.
so even with Sam Levitt around, great quarterback, nothing against Sam Levitt. It's just all flowers to Texas Tech in this high powered offense and defense.
100%. This is their second to last like really hard game. I would say,
Right.
at Arizona State, like that's not something to like sneeze at, right? As far as like Big
Mm-hmm.
12 teams go, when BYU comes in, that's their last test. I mean, if they got out of this one clean, like you can basically pencil them in for a playoff spot, in my opinion. That's really what's at stake in this game. Do I think that Kenny Dillingham might have been playing a little possum last week against Utah? I do. I do think that I kind of feel like Kenny Dillingham kind of just chalked that up, was like, okay, that's the loss. Like it's not really who we are, and they'll be, it'll be a different team than what we saw in Salt Lake. But even though I think that, I think Texas Tech still wins this game by 2 possessions. I think we'll be right on that like cover line. Like maybe ASU has the ball down 14 late. Maybe they cover, maybe they don't, but I think Texas Tech is in control for this one. Let's see, who do we have next on the docket? Okay, let's go to Georgia Tech Duke. Jack, Georgia Tech's the number 12 team in the country, but are they favored against Duke? No,
Probably not.
they are not. So we have a classic unranked home favorite versus a ranked road favorite. So if you've been listening to this podcast for the last 2 months or so, you know that this is my favorite spot. Just take the home team and run, man. I'm taking Duke. Jack, are you buying it?
It, I've not really heard much about Georgia Tech this year. And to see
Mm-hmm.
them at 12 is pretty surprising. I
Yeah.
honestly don't know a ton about Georgia Tech, but they've been winning. Duke's a basketball school, so I got to go with Georgia Tech.
All right. Makes sense. Makes sense. That game's, that's another early game. LSU Vandy, Georgia Tech Duke doesn't sound sexy, but it's gonna be a great way to start the
It
day.
will.
On Saturday. Mensa versus Darian Mensa versus Haynes King. Definitely maybe the most underrated quarterback battle in the country this
True.
season. So that should be pretty exciting to watch. Moving on, we have number 5, Ole Miss, who stunk but beat Washington State last week against Georgia at Georgia. Georgia's a 8.5-point favorite. Um, as of my preparation. So Jack, feel like Georgia's gonna roll, or we think Ole Miss is gonna put up a good fight?
This is another 50-50. Just flip a coin and pick a team.
Yeah.
I think Ole Miss will end up covering. I think it's going to be a
Mm-hmm.
very close game, wire to wire.
Right.
Georgia hasn't impressed me this
Not
year,
at all.
but they've impressed me in the second half. And so
Mm-hmm.
if Ole Miss can build a decent lead going into halftime, I like Ole Miss. But if it's
Yep.
a tie game going into halftime, you have to give it to Kirby Smart in his second half adjustments. But with that being said, give me Ole Miss. I think they're going to pull it
Okay.
off
Okay.
at Georgia. I think Ole Miss is going to be seen as a legit title contender,
Wow.
and this is the game that they're going to solidify that argument.
Yeah, see a lot, Ole Miss and Oklahoma were, the top 2 ranked SEC teams last week. And a lot of people have been calling those 2 teams frauds, right?
Mhm.
And even if Ole Miss loses this game, they have a shot, or they have a chance to go out there and at least prove that they're not fraudulent football team. They're not a fraudulent football team. Last week, I think we can just chalk it up to they were already thinking about Georgia. Like, I
Mhm.
think it's as simple as that. We haven't seen Ole Miss's defense really tested yet this season. I think this is going to be the first time their defense faces a real legitimate like rushing attack,
Mhm.
because LSU couldn't run the football. That's old news. So if they're able to contain Georgia on the ground and they're able to make Georgia's QB throw the football, then I think they're going to be right in this game. But with that said, I'm going with Kirby Smart. Still maybe not the best coach in the country. Maybe that's something we can talk about at the end. Who the best coach is in the country, because a certain someone got a big raise today. But still going with Kirby Smart. So lock me up, Georgia. Let's
Is
go
this
Dogs.
a is this a field rushing game for Georgia if they win?
I
And
don't.
when was the last time they rushed the field? Because they're supposed to win every game at home. So technically, like you shouldn't be rushing the field if you're a Georgia fan. But
Right.
is this a rushing the field type game?
No, I don't think so. I think maybe if it was like beating Alabama, maybe that's a field rushing type game, just because they'd never beat Bama. But just like going back, like obviously they hadn't lost a home game in since 2019 before they lost to Bama this season. And honestly, have any of those home games really been close at all?
No.
So like I think it's
Like a
I
game winning touchdown for Georgia, are they rushing the field?
oh I mean I guess it depends on the context of the game, right?
Right.
Like if they win in double overtime or whatnot.
Right.
Was the Georgia Tech game at home, like the Georgia Tech game where it went into 8 overtimes? Was that at Georgia last year? I think
It
it
was
was, right?
Georgia Tech, I thought. It's actually that game was absolutely nuts. It was Georgia. It was at Georgia.
Okay. And did they storm that? Did they storm the field?
It was a good question.
I feel like if you win an 8 overtime game, your team
But
or
against Georgia
your
Tech,
it's a rivalry.
yeah,
One that one that they've dominated for 20 years, but
I don't think they I don't think they rushed the field.
okay. Well, if they didn't rush the field for that, then they truly need something.
It's true.
They but it could happen. I mean, if Gunner Stockton goes down and leads them on a game-winning touchdown drive to win,
Hmm.
like win at the last second, they could easily storm the field. Like, I mean, that's not
They
out of the
could.
realm of possibility. But I feel like Kirby Smart would be angry if
Right.
if they storm the field against Ole Miss. I feel like he's like, no, we only storm
He's
the
like,
field
we
against
need to win this. We're supposed
like
to win this game.
Alabama. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, honestly, that's like the only reason why I see they wouldn't storm the field is because of Kirby. But yeah, Georgia's a good football team. How good? Like we've seen them play Tennessee and Alabama and have come away feeling not great about them in either game, despite them winning
Hmm.
one. And even in some of their other easy wins, we still haven't felt great about them. So be
Yep.
another chance for Georgia to prove themselves. Last SEC game, well, second to last SEC game we'll get into Missouri at Auburn. Now you might be asking yourself, Jack, why is this game even on the list? Why are we even talking about this game? And it's because Vegas knows something about Auburn, I think. Not really sure not really sure why they keep giving Auburn as such a slight dog, but Auburn's at home again with number 16 Missouri coming in, and they're 1 point underdog. So, you know, this game looks like it's going to be pretty crazy. It's going to be behind three other games that are all going to be way more viewed Saturday night. But Jack, Missouri Auburn, you feel like Missouri's got to bounce back in them this week, or are they going to fall in Jordan Air?
I think they're going to lose. And I think
Okay.
Auburn is going to end up finally beating a ranked opponent because they've been so close this whole season. They lost by 7 points to Oklahoma, 6 points to Texas A&M, and 10 points to Georgia last week. And so I
Yeah.
think it's finally time that Auburn figures it out. They're going to knock off a top 25 team, play a little spoiler for Missouri, even though they're not going to make any SEC run anyway.
Right.
But Auburn finally gets it done against a ranked team.
Yeah, I agree. Multiple factors going into this game. I'm picking Auburn as well. Eli Drinkwitz has been floated out for that Penn State job, so I'm sure just maybe he's not been giving this game 100% of the focus it deserves. How many times is Auburn going to get screwed by the refs this season? They got screwed by Oklahoma. They got screwed playing Oklahoma. They probably should have won that game if the officiating is, competent. It was incompetent that game. They had the Oklahoma free touchdown that was illegal that the refs just didn't call. And then they also had the fumble return that was like ruled a incomplete pass or whatever, right? Should have won
Yep.
that game. Then against Georgia, we all know what happened. They were up 10-0. Jackson Arnold gets into the end zone twice. Both times they ruled that he didn't get into the end zone. And on the second time, he fumbled the football. And, Georgia went down and scored. Game completely flipped. If that happens here, I think it's going to be unsafe to be in Auburn, Alabama on Saturday. Like,
Will be.
lock your houses, go down to the
Yep.
basement, lock yourself in the cellar. Don't come out until Monday morning. So, but I think they're going to get it done. I think this is the perfect storm. Missouri's really not that great, and they're going to get it done. All right, let's get into the big ones. Uh, Out of these three games, Jack, number 20 USC, number 13 Notre Dame, number 11 Tennessee, and number 6 Alabama, and number 23 versus number 15 BYU. Which one of these games is going to be one of these games is going to have an insane game winning field goal, we've seen just absolute insanity in all three of these rivalries. This is like your October rivalry weekend. Which one of these is going to deliver the most?
For the random fan to turn on a game, I think it's not BYU Utah because I
Yeah.
think that's going to be a sluggish in the trenches type game, and no one wants to watch that game. And
Right.
so I'm between Alabama, Tennessee, and USC Notre Dame. I think it's going to be USC Notre Dame for me because I think that game has the most potential to just be an absolute shootout, and
Mm-hmm.
ha- both teams just won't be able to stop each other, and it ends up
Mm-hmm.
being like 40-40
Yeah.
with a last second drive to go win the game. And so
Mm-hmm.
that's why I would pick USC Notre Dame is going to be the most entertaining game. But if you know anything about football and what football actually is, I think that Utah BYU game is going to be a classic.
I think so. I mean, it's not crazy to say that this is like one of them, maybe like top three most anticipated rivalry game. Unfortunately, it's not at the end of the season. That's the only thing that's really like kind of tainting this one a little bit. But both ranked teams, for the first time, they're both in Power Five conferences and good. Sorry, excuse me, Power Four conferences and both good. So they're in the same conference again. We saw the theatrics of what happened last year in Rice Eccles with BYU sneaking out of there with a win to go to 9-0. And, you know, Utah was their season was already over, but like that loss really made themselves bowl ineligible for a bowl game. Kyle Whittingham, Jack, was rumored to retire last year, didn't because he lost to Utah and had a horrible season. Like the storylines that are oozing out of this game is if Whittingham wins this, it doesn't matter what happens at the end of the season, he's done. Like he's going to retire with a win against BYU. So this is the last time we'll see Whittingham. If he wins, maybe if he loses, maybe he'll try and come back for another season. Um, you know, BYU's oh, what did Trey Alexander say? He said he's lost 2 games in his BYU career. He's 17-2. Like BYU since last season has been one of the most
It's nuts.
consistent, best teams in the country. I don't know how they keep getting balls to bounce their way. I mean, if your starting quarterback fumbles it on the 5-yard line and 2 Arizona players try to jump on the football and don't get it, and you somehow come out with it, you must be doing something good off the field to get rewarded for that. But BYU keeps getting these breaks, man. They've gotten these breaks for, it feels like 2 years in a row. So this game is going to be insane. It's going to be close. It's going to be quote unquote ugly, but it's going to be, I think every time someone tackle, like every hit is going to feel like a car crash. Every hit is going to, so it's going to be the most physical game played on Saturday, just quite honestly. Like no other game, and as far as physicality comes close to this one. So that's going to be fun to watch. You're right. The other 2 games, overs, like points, points, points. Aguilar versus Ty Simpson, awesome matchup. CJ Carr versus Jade Mayava, awesome matchup. Like, but it's going to be perfect. Like, if you're 4 boxing it or you have multiple TVs, like this might be the best college football window of the season. Like, just, I mean, you have, and like we said, you have Missouri Auburn there as well. So I agree with you. I think it's Utah BYU where just the insanity, like just as far as like, and just overall crowd environment too, I feel like. But give me your thoughts on Tennessee, Alabama, since we haven't touched on that one.
Yeah, I mean, that's another, I mean, we did overlook that a little bit. I did. But again, that's a nearly top 10 matchup, one that could decide who goes and plays in the SEC championship
Mm-hmm.
later on in the year. And it's whoever's playing at home, in my
Yep.
opinion. So if Tennessee was at home, I'd be picking Tennessee. But since Alabama's playing at home, they got that environment. I mean, that place is going to be rocking as usual, and Alabama's going to continue to roll, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you guys know, going with Bama, like, wasn't even a question coming in. I do think it's going to be a fun game, high scoring, but Think Bama's going to win. I I mean, I know the spread favors Notre Dame heavily, Jack, but I really, really like what I saw from USC last week against Michigan. I'd pick them to cover the spread for sure. Um, and you know, CJ Carr is gonna have to show how grown up he is since Texas A&M and Miami. Both games that Notre Dame easily could have won, and both games that they lost wasn't CJ Carr's fault, but he's going to have to be the best quarterback in this game if Notre Dame wants to win. And if he is, like, I mean, we're talking about a future top draft pick. We're talking about a front runner for the Heisman next season. If he's able to put together a performance that's going to be awesome to beat USC. If Notre Dame wins, kind of feels like this win is good enough to get them back into the playoff conversation, as long as they don't lose at the end of the season. If they lose, they're done. And not only that, it puts USC now in a position to be the third best team in the Big Ten, potentially fourth. And if USC finishes the season 10-2 with a win at Notre Dame, like, I think they're a lock for the playoff. So it's gonna be fast.
Yeah,
Like this Saturday. I mean, you and I both can't wait for it to get here. Saturday's gonna be incredible. Jack, you and I are both BYU fans, so I think we're both picking BYU, right? Even if logic and I don't know, just football analysis, there's no way we can pick against BYU. Even if I thought Utah was going to win, there's no way I'm picking against BYU.
right. Especially in the rivalry game. I mean, you just can't, as a fan, I can't fathom saying Utah's going to win this game.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I feel like the blueprint to beat Utah is going to be run the ball 45 times this game
Yep.
because their rush defense is not great. Even if
Mm-hmm.
their defense is an outstanding defense, they've given up a lot of rushing yards this season. I think they're like 80th, 90th in this nation on rush defense. But then on the other side, BYU needs to get pressure on Dampier because if they don't get pressure, he's going to have all day to throw. Anyone in the nation is going to be able to find open guys if they have 5 seconds to throw. If BYU gets pressure on Dampier and can stick to the run game, even if that's not what people want to watch, BYU is going to come out victorious.
100%. That is our college football preview. Let's get to some NFL games, Jack. Last week, had a couple good matchups. This week is kind of the same. Let's start with the matchup of the week for the podcast. Not a great game, but it's Green Bay at Arizona. Green Bay is a 6.5-point favorite. Kyler Murray's potentially coming back, and I'll just let you start, Jack. Do you want to see Kyler Murray at quarterback as an opposing fan, or do you want to see Jacoby Brissett?
I want Kyler Murray. I I want there to be zero excuses. Anytime I play a team, I want them to be fully healthy because then throughout the season I can't say, "Oh, we beat the Cardinals, but their second stringer was in." "Oh, we beat Dallas, but they didn't have anybody playing." Stuff like that. So, I mean, I hope Kyler Murray plays, and I hope the Packers don't play with their food this time because it feels like that's what they've been doing all season. And it's getting very frustrating as a fan to see a team as good as the Packers just continue to, yeah, they win, but it's very underwhelming the way that they're
Mm-hmm.
winning. And so ever since they beat the Lions in that fashion in week one, I want them to come out and beat every team by 30, but I just haven't seen that in them.
Right. See, here's the thing. I don't know if Kyler Murray's really a first stringer, Jack. I don't know if you've. I mean, not that you need to, but in Arizona sports, there's a lot of chatter about if Jacoby Brissett might be a better better quarterback for Arizona.
Well, we want
That's
to play
that's
whoever is better.
all right. Okay. Well, that sounds like
Whoever you
sounds
guys
like
decide to play.
my guess is it will be Brissett because I think Kyler could play, but I think the Cardinals might want to see another week of Jacoby Brissett operating the offense because it's so nice, Jack, when your quarterback can throw the ball over the middle of the field. Like
Yeah.
it just changes what you can do on offense.
Is Marvin Harrison playing? I know
He
he
has
was banged up,
yeah, he's in concussion protocol, so
so
I
no.
don't think they'll know till Sunday, and unless it was very minor, I doubt he plays, especially with the Cardinals have a bye week coming up.
Mm.
So my guess is that if there's anyone that's, remotely questionable, I think they're gonna sit them and let them get 2 weeks of rest over the bye week. Is kind of so you caught the Cardinals at a perfect time. You
If
should
that's the case, then yeah,
you
I mean,
should
I think the
roll.
Packers are going to roll.
Yeah. If I thought we had any shot at winning this game, I would be making bets with you. I'd be talking trash, but Cardinals have
I
sucked all
understand.
happiness and joy out of me once again.
What's new?
So not a whole lot. But we'll move on from that. I guess mostly unimportant game. The Rams play the Jaguars, Jack. Rams lost pretty convincingly to the Seahawks last week. And, the Rams have been very up and down this season. You have a strong lean in this game?
It kind of depends on how Puka's doing,
Right.
health wise. As far as I'm aware, he's questionable. Probably
Right. He
won't
is.
play. Not sure.
It's an ankle, and so it's like if it's just a sprain, like I mean, you can talk yourself into him playing, but it's like, you know, Jaguars offense really struggled against the Seahawks last week, so maybe they don't need Puka against the Jaguars this week.
Right. Yeah. And so I think I mean, it's also getting played in London. And so I think it's going to
Right.
be a funky game regardless. And so, I mean, obviously you got to go with the Rams. I still think they have a very high powered offense without Puka in there
Mm-hmm.
to Jacksonville, who really only have a couple guys that I would be
Right.
afraid of if I'm the Rams. And so, with that being said, I think it's going to be ugly because it's in London. But
Mm-hmm.
if I had to take a team, it would be Rams to cover
Okay.
and win.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I trust Stafford. I think he's one of the
Right.
top 5 quarterbacks. And even without Puka, that'll hurt, but he'll be able to get it done. Another game that we'll get into, the Colts versus the Chargers. The Colts have been one of the best teams in the NFL, the most surprising team in the NFL. They're super banged up in the secondary. They're a 1.5 point dog at the Chargers. Do you think the Colts have enough to upset the Chargers in this one?
I don't think so, just due to that secondary being banged up. This is one of the best receiving cores in the NFL with McConkey, Quentin Johnson, and Keenan Allen. And then you got, is Hampton out? He
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
Yeah,
So it's
it's
oh
Vidal.
yeah, Vidal. Yep.
So, I mean, you definitely are winning the running back battle if you're the Colts, but
Right.
the Chargers receiving core is just too much to handle, especially with a banged up secondary, which is why I'm taking the Chargers to cover.
Okay. See, I hear you. My one question is so Quentin Johnson didn't play last week. He's questionable for this week. Obviously, for fantasy purposes, I would love Quentin Johnson to play.
I think he was announced active today.
Was he? Was he?
Yeah.
I haven't. I'm checked the injury wire since this morning. Okay, if he's active, I feel good about the Chargers. I do think if the Colts are able to, continue to just run over teams like they have been,
Hmm.
I mean they're going to be in the game, but I think Daniel Jones is going to probably make one too many mistakes against a really good Chargers secondary, and the Chargers will find a way to pull it out. Let's see. Second to last game we'll talk about the Eagles at the Vikings. Eagles come in as a 2.5-point favorite, losers of their last two. Looks like JJ McCarthy is practicing again. We'll see if that means he's going to play. Carson Wentz has been fine-ish. In lieu of McCarthy, you think and Justin Jefferson is healthy. Jordan Addison's back from suspension, so they're fully healthy and accounted for in the wide receiver room. Do you think the Eagles are going to lose a third straight, Jack?
This is this is a coin flip for the NFL, in my opinion. It's just unimaginable to take the Eagles to lose three in a row.
Right.
But is that where we're at with the Eagles? Are they going to turn the page and play team football, or are they just going to keep worrying about whatever they want to worry about?
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is the Vikings are coming off of a bye, which I think is going to help tremendously.
Right.
They're a little banged up. They needed this rest. They were traveling the country playing games out of the states, and so this
Right.
bye came at the perfect time. And with that being said, I think it's going to be the Vikings that end up beating the Eagles, and every Eagles fan is going to be asking what the crap is happening to their football team.
Right. Do you think it matters what quarterback the Vikings go with?
I don't think it does because I feel like they're I mean, they're similar in a way, in my opinion, to where they'll both make mistakes, but then they'll both find the open receiver.
Right.
And so it doesn't really matter which way you go if I'm a Vikings fan, because regardless, you still have one of the best receiving cores in the NFL. And Carson Wentz and JJ McCarthy are both competent enough to give their skill guys the ball
Mm-hmm.
when they're open.
Yeah, I think I'm going with the Eagles. I think we see the Eagles finally figure it out and get Saquon the ball 20 times. I think if they get Saquon the ball 20 times, I think they win. Now, if they keep, dinking around like they have been the last couple of weeks and he doesn't get the ball, like they're going to lose this game. And football coach Sirianni is going to be back on the hot seat. Even after winning a Super Bowl last season, he'll be less than halfway into the next season and be on the hot seat. One, it's just brutal being a Philadelphia coach because no one's ever satisfied. And two, like, you're clearly a coordinator merchant. So maybe just go out and get someone who's not a coordinator merchant at the same time. So, with that being said, I am going to go with the Eagles, but definitely hope the Vikings win because I would love nothing more than to see Eagles fans spiral even more into their personal Philadelphia circle of hell that they've been in.
This is my least.
With that being said, Paul George out for opening day already, so
That is tragic.
things are just going great in Philly.
Yep, it really is. But this is my least confident pick, and so
Yeah.
I'm not betting on this game. I'm not
Oh no.
swaying one way or the other, but I wouldn't I wouldn't be surprised either way, but I like the Vikings at home. Defense is looking great. Getting everyone back, I think, off the bye week. Give me the Vikings.
Yeah, let's go. Last game, Tampa Bay at Detroit. Detroit is a 5.5-point favorite. It's crazy. Obviously, Lions coming off a loss last week to the Chiefs. Tampa Bay coming off of it's their first time they were able to beat a team without doing it on like the last play of the game.
Yep.
So Tampa Bay coming off their best, most comfortable win of the season as a 5.5-point dog. I mean, that line is just screaming to take Tampa Bay, right? But at the same time, it makes me think that Vegas knows something that I don't. So For that
Well, they
reason,
know if. Sorry, go.
no, you're good. I'm going with Detroit. Like, bounce back game. Think Jared Goff and that offense is going to look a lot better. But go ahead.
Um, yeah, I like the Lions as well. It really depends on what Lions team shows up
Yeah,
because if you get the Lions that played against the Packers and the Chiefs, they're going to lose by 2 touchdowns to this Buccaneers team. But
right.
if it's the Lions team that pulls off, comes up against the Bears, the Browns, even the Bengals, I
Yeah,
mean, you're looking at a 20-point game. And
right.
so it just depends on that. And I'm gonna go with the pattern. I mean, they lose a game and then they go blow out a team. And so it's happened once this year, but we're gonna keep rolling with that pattern. And I think Detroit wins by 2 scores.
All right. I'm in lockstep with you. Part of me, Jack, feels like this Lions team is kind of like the Packers team last year,
Mhm.
where they beat everyone and blew everyone out except for the good teams,
Yep.
right? That's kind of how this Lions team is trending towards, or is trending to me at least. But I think Tampa Bay's a good team, and to see them favored by 5.5 points against arguably the front runner for MVP this season and Baker Mayfield, like, I mean, that's shocking. Now, do I think Baker's going to have the ball in his hands in a one possession game go down and win the football game? I do think that. I just think it's going to be, Lions have a 6 point lead and they're able to hold him, probably in the red zone. And for for the second time this season, Baker's not going to be able to come through and win the game for his team. But if he does, Jack, if he does, I think, this launches Baker into the front runner for the MVP discussion. And somehow the guy that got traded from the Browns,
It's
cut
nuts.
by the Panthers, played 3 or 4 games for McVay, won a starting quarterback job against Kyle Trask, of all people, in Tampa Bay a couple years ago, is now going to be leading the MVP discussion. And you can't even use his skilled position players around him as a crutch because Emeka Egbuka got hurt last week. Chris Godwin's been out for the season. Mike Evans has been out the last 3 or 4 weeks as well. And Baker just Baker just keeps doing what Baker does. It doesn't matter who's around him. So like this guy is elevating himself as one of the best players in football. And I wouldn't be surprised if at the end of the season we're talking about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as not just a legitimate Super Bowl contender, but possibly one of the favorites to win. And then next season, we're looking at Baker as a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. Like,
Nuts.
it's nuts. But this is the game where if he wins this one, I mean, we're real. I might not believe all of those things, but I know those things will be said. I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I
this is
believe
definitely the game of the week.
and if Baker wins this, man, the fallout from this game, if Baker wins, it's gonna be awesome. Super happy for the guy. I hope we see him in many more commercials for the next decade. Jack, out of all the quarterbacks that do commercials, is Baker the best? Is Baker the best commercial quarterback?
Yes,
Yeah,
no question. He
yeah.
has to be.
I think so too. I think he's the
Unless
funniest.
they start getting Jameis Winston in more commercials, it's gonna be Baker.
I how come they don't use him for the
They
Heisman
need to.
House?
Oh, that would be
This is
electric.
Yeah, what are we doing? And don't get me wrong, everyone in the Heisman House commercial is great. They're fantastic.
Imagine
And
Jameis.
Baker's
Oh
one of
my
the
gosh,
stars too. Oh, Baker and Jameis in some of those commercials, great.
that would be
He's
the
way better than
greatest commercial.
Arch. He's
Yep.
way better than Arch. Trying to think of some other quarterbacks that just don't belong in commercials right now. Arch is obviously the first one that comes to mind. All right, Jack, that concludes another episode of JK Sports. Going to be an incredible weekend of football. Give us some piece of advice or words of wisdom for this week of football, Jack, before we get out of here.
Get as many TVs as you can in the same room because you're going to need that many TVs on Saturday to watch every game, because I truly do think this is the week where we'll see upsets, we'll see very close games, and it's going to be a great week of sports, especially at that 5 o'clock window. You're going to need 4 TVs there.
Whew. Oh my gosh.
That's my wisdom.
Get your TVs, get your vitamins, R.I.P. Pinelli, get your vitamins, and sit back and enjoy just an incredible weekend of football. Next we'll go live Saturday after the games because there's going to be a ton to talk about.
Must be why you loses.
Okay, well, if BYU loses, I'll go live and just cry. I'll just cry
Perfect.
for about 15 minutes, and then that'll be that. And then so we'll see you guys Saturday night. Enjoy a great weekend of football.